All right, guys, just want to go through your homework assignment quickly. This will be the next step in getting your board shop project completed. So I just want to let you know, as long as you turn this homework in on time and you've made a real effort to get it working as much as possible, you're going to get 100 for this, okay? And what I want to do is next week, I want to have during our normal class time, which is what, Thursday, 11:10, 11:15, I think it is. We're going to set up a Zoom session and we're going to go over the code and just make sure answer any questions that you have, because I want to make sure that you guys do well on your project as we're coming to an end, because that's going to be a big part of your final grade. All right. So all I want to do now, you need to make sure you watch the 3 videos that are really kind of review of stuff that we've already learned, but you need to watch those before you attempt the homework, and really before you watch this video, because it's going to make the things that I say here a little clearer. All right, so your homework assignment this week is basically to get the search box working up top here, and when I click add to cart, you're going to increment this number over here next to the shopping cart, and that has to be maintained between pages. I've set up a separate page for you, a cart page here that doesn't have anything in it. We'll work on that next time, actually populating the shopping cart information here. But right now, we just want to make sure that number is maintained as you go from one to the other. And I'm going to give you the cart HTML, and I'm going to give you the home page HTML. So you won't have to fool with that. All you got to do is write the code to make it working, right? So what we need to do, let's talk first about the search and how that would work. So if I search for example, Never Summer here, and I hit enter, it returns Never Summer. It shouldn't matter what case I use there. Let's search for Burton, for example. If I search for Burton with a capital B, it should return it. If I search for Burton with all caps or partial caps, it should still return it. It does. It returns the same 3. We'll just do Never Summer again. Never is capitalized and Summer is lowercase, and sure enough, never only the Never Summer boards are returned here. So anything that's listed in here, Never Summer, Snow Trooper, and even the word men's is going to be returned if I search for it up here. Notice if I search for women's, it returns only the boards with women's in the name. And so if you blank this out, it should return everything. All right. So what are you going to have to do in order to get that working? Let me just walk you quickly through the steps. Each of these boards here, if I inspect this element, each of these boards are contained within a div, right? And that div is, each of these divs are using the class boards. And each of those divs also have a title attribute that has the name of the board and then whether it's men's or women's, okay? So what you're going to have to basically do is you're going to have to use the each function that we've talked about, and you're going to have to return all of the everything that's of class boards. And for each of those guys, you're going to want to look at the title attribute and see if the title attribute matches what you've searched for in this search box up here. So you're going to be comparing this title here along with whatever text is typed in up here, right? Like in this case, if I type in Burton, Burton is the text that's up there. So if I inspect this, I'll see that for this text box search right here, the value of that text box is going to be Burton, and I can prove that to you. I can run some jQuery code real quick here. Pound txt search is the name of that text box, and if I do just check the value of that, it's got the word Burton in it, okay? Now, when we're doing these comparisons, one of the things we went over, you're going to see we go over in the videos, lectures, is that I reminded you about the 2 lowercase, right? Because when you're comparing this string here with the string that's over here contained within the, let me get up here to it, within the title right here, you're going to have to be able to compare those both lowercase, right? So that an upper or lowercase letter doesn't, I'm sorry, an uppercase letter doesn't cause a problem. So I talked about the 2 lowercase method that you can use to convert a string to lowercase. So you're basically going to take what's in the search box and see if there's an index of somewhere inside that, look at what's here for each of these guys and see if there's an index of that matches the string that's in the search box up here, okay? So index of function we go over in the video lectures, 2 lowercase, each, the use of this. Those are all things that you're going to need in order to get that search box working, okay? So that's the first part of the homework. The second part of the homework is to get this add to cart button working, right? And so for add to cart, when, let me clear this out here. And by the way, I've got it code in there that you don't have to write. It's already in there for you, so that if you type in a word in here and you hit the enter key, it'll click the go button for you automatically and make sure that that works. So you don't have to physically click go. You can just hit enter. The next part is add to cart. So if I add to cart, get a pop-up saying are you sure you want to add the Arbor Ethos women's snowboard at a cost of $250? All right, and I made this a little simpler for you than it needed to be. You really could have gotten this name from somewhere else, but I've actually, if you inspect each of these buttons here, you'll see that I've added to each of these buttons a title attribute, which has the name of the snowboard, whether it's men's or women's. And there's also a cost attribute right here, which has the value of the cost, right? So you know how to check the attribute now. There's a video on that using the jQuery ATTR call to check the attribute. And so if I have if I define the click method for the click function for each of these buttons, I can say, get this .attr title, and it'll give me this value. If I do, $ open parentheses this close parentheses attr cost, it'll get this value for me. And so then I can construct the confirm box that pops up and says, are you sure you want to add the Arbor men's snowboard at a cost of $200, right? So that's basically what you're going to be doing there. And there's going to be an if statement on your confirm to say, if they click OK on the confirm, then I want to add it to the cart. Otherwise, don't do anything. And so as far as adding it to the cart, you're basically going to have to update this number right here. So if let me make that bigger. If I inspect this number, you'll see that it's inside of a span, which has a shop count of 0. So basically, in order to update that, I'm going to have to do pound shop count dot val, no, I'm sorry, dot text. And then if I want to change it to 2, for example, I can do that. And you see that it's been updated to 2 on here, right? But I said that this needs to, I said in one of the videos, this value needs to stay there as you go across to other pages. And so we're going to have to use session storage, which I also teach you in one of the videos. So this value, as we click add to cart, if they confirm that add to cart is going to happen, then we're going to have to store the incremented value in session storage, and we're going to have to then set the value of shop count to whatever that new number is, okay? So we'll go over how to do that with session storage. So if you think through this, add to cart, when they click OK right here, first thing it'll do is it'll grab the value that's currently in session storage and whatever you call your variable that's in session storage that's holding the number of items that are in your shopping cart. It's going to have to grab that. It's going to have to convert it to an integer using parseInt, and it's going to have to then increment that value by 1. You're going to have to add 1 to it and then store it back in session storage. And then once you do that, you can set the value of shop count .text here to whatever's currently in session storage. All right. So you're going to have to do that every time they hit add cart and they click OK. The other thing you're going to have to do, in order for this value to be updated when I click on cart here and go to the cart page, for this to be here, when this page loads, you're going to have to look at the value that's in shop cart. Now, I'm sorry, look at the value that's in your session storage variable, right? That's holding that shop cart number. And if it has a value, if it exists, then you're going to have to take that value and store it in this span, which is has an ID of shop count. Okay, so when the page loads, you're going to have to check first of all to see if that session storage variable exists, and if it does, then take whatever's in there and stick it in this span. All right, the same thing's going to have to happen on home actually, because think about it, if I'm on the cart page here and then I go back home, then if there's already a value stored in the card, I need to make sure I read that first thing. And if it does have a value, then I'm going to put it there. All right. And just to let you see quickly what I've got here on the home page that I'm going to give you, you'll see that there's a document ready function created for you, right? This is where, right down here, this is my code that lets you hit enter in the search box, so don't worry about that. But right down here is where you're going to write your code that's doing everything else. And the only place where you're going to write code in a different location is for the search box. I've got a do search function declared for you. And so the reason that works, you'll see right here, if I here's my go button, right, for the search box, and you can see that if you click in this input, the do search method is called. So just reminding you that that still works. We haven't done it that way in a while, but that's why you would write your code for do search right there. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I recommend starting on this earlier, right, than later in the week. Don't wait till Wednesday. Definitely watch the videos, read any of those things online if you need to. It may not be necessary. The video may be sufficient because most of this is review. Each jQuery method is one that may be new to you, so you might want to go to the online page and review that. But let me know if you have any questions, and Lord willing, I will see you guys online for class next Thursday. All right, have a good one.